Imagine that you're Dutch and you never read English before, and then you find this 400 pages in English, The Creative Act, The Way of Being by Rick Rubin. It came out this year and I'm really impressed. I was searching an article about this book, a review here in Holland, and I could only find one in the well-known newspaper, the Volkskrant. The Dutch people watching this video will know what I'm talking about, and it was written by a well-known journalist who writes about pop music. I don't want to use any name in my video, but when you search here in Holland for The Creative Act and then you type Volkskrant, you will find this very small article. But he wrote that this book is a weak message because Rubin should only say that you can create anything you like when you believe in it. And he even wrote that, this journalist wrote that this book was his biggest disappointment. I don't know, but I think here in Holland we are quite sober in the way that we want to know facts. And as I read in this article, this review about this book, I read that this journalist was expecting to finally read the book by Rubin about his adventures and facts creating the most famous albums with the famous artists. Well, maybe that would have been nice, but then it would have been an adventure book, a story. And for me it was immediately clear that Rick Rubin didn't choose to write about that. He chose to write about how creativity works, how you can rely on it, without even give it a name or explain what creativity may be, because he accepts that he isn't able to do that. So there are a few examples in the book without using any names of artists, but it's more about how he is able to do what he's doing. And for me, I think that's the main reason why this is a good book. As you're watching my videos, more of them, I think you will notice that I never talk about what kind of blue I prefer for a sky, because it depends on the sky. And when I'm talking about blue and yellow and orange and how much water I use for a certain sky, then I'm not talking about creativity anymore, but I'm making videos with recipes. This is not a book about recipes. Recipes won't work. They only work for this sky that I paint today in this kind of mood. But tomorrow the recipe is changed and I don't know yet the recipe for tomorrow. So this is not a book with recipes. This is not a story. This is only trying to explain how Rubin finds his path with artists together and how he creates. Of course, recipes can be useful, but I think that's my opinion, when you're looking only for recipes, you will ignore creativity. Maybe you are afraid of creativity and afraid that your choice won't be the good one. Good and fault, stupid words. I think it's only about finding your way. And if you want to read about how someone finds his way every day, this is the book. So I'm really impressed by it. And I'm working hard on a video about this book. I hope it will be online in 1 or 2 weeks. And I can only say you should read this for yourself when you're really curious about creativity. It doesn't matter what you create. It can be everything, but for all creators this is really a helpful book. The criticism of this book was that the message was weak, even using some clichés. In my opinion, we don't have to be afraid of clichés. When you are looking for the truth, you come upon clichés. We can't avoid them because these are sensible and often right. There is a difference between finding clichés and creating clichés. When you are a composer, for example, and you don't choose to write clichés, you actually say you are looking for a more authentic style. But even working in your own original mode will provide daily clichés. Using a brush, canvas and paint as a painter are clichés, for example, but the result is unique. This book is about creating with all its pitfalls, challenges, difficulties and clichés. That's why it is Rubin's book, not his musical production. So, my idea for next week's topic was this book. But working on this video, I realized it's going to be a video about creating, making art. The reason why this happens is because Rubin's book is not about him. It is about creation and crafting in a universal way. I think Rubin is alright with this. In Holland we celebrate Saint Nicholas, his birthday on December the 5th. Halfway November he already arrives by his boat, accompanied by his servants. This is a special moment for the younger ones. The fanfare plays in a parade. and after them Saint Nicholas follows on his white horse. His servants bring the sweets and small presents for the kids. The new season has started. Days become shorter. Trees lose their leaves. Colors change. Now it will become more quiet in town. People stay inside. Warmer colors in the light, colder in the shadows. The smell of burning fireplaces. No bird songs anymore. We only hear the sound of the crow and a few robins. I know all these kids who came along to see Saint Nicholas. They are friends of our sons and daughter. They were so excited to see Saint Nicholas. The magic of a famous friend who only visits us once a year. Some are dressed up, others don't believe anymore in this theater, and maybe know who the actor for the saint is this morning. But the mood will remain the same. The first cold days of November, the crispy, bright morning light and long shadows. So, as you probably could see, the start of this watercolor was a kind of mess. I love to start that way. Actually, that's what I saw while I was standing here as well last year. It's a chaos, shouting kids and moving all together with a lot of noise. And then I was watching into this bright sunlight and I didn't recognize them. I only saw movements, light and shadows. And then sometimes suddenly you hear your name, hey Titus, and then you think, who is this? And then later you recognize them. Almost impossible to paint. So when I would have started on this one, detail after detail, then it would have been a very boring job. And then it had become a painting with only details that don't make sense, as you know what I mean. So that's why I often like to start in the chaos. Actually, everything starts in the chaos. The choice to paint this after a year then, but the plan of painting this subject started from this mess, this chaos. It remembered me of a time when I was a kid as well. Not this subject, but the way of painting. My parents have a friend. He's a painter, an artist as well. And he had a studio in the village where I grew up. And then sometimes on a Wednesday afternoon, I was able to join him while he was at work. And once we made several paintings together, totally abstract. 3 or 4 in the morning. And just color. He said, just start with colors. And the shapes don't have to mean anything. Just put the paint on the towels. And that was fun, of course, for a 7 or 8-year-old child like me in those days. And then we had lunch, and then he put those paintings upside down. And we were watching those paintings, and then suddenly he said, I see a horse. There, the red one. It could become a red horse. And I saw a tree. And then we saw a car. Well, and so on. It's like the people who see shapes in clouds, you know. But it's really a challenge to change these shapes in objects. And actually this way of working is the same. I know here is a girl, here is a little boy, and I just put some water and pigment over there. That's how I saw it as well last year over there. I didn't see a boy, I just saw a mess. And then the light and the shadows could tell me later, oh, there was a boy over there. But I love to play with the paint today because these days are really, really busy. I'm working on several commissions and my lectures, of course. Videos. I'm making videos for someone else too these days. But they're in Dutch. But they can really be nice for the Dutch viewers maybe. The channel is called Life Coach aan Zee. And Life Coach aan Zee is a coach who helped me out several years ago when I was struggling with with heavy stuff on my mind. And he set me free. I think that's a short way to explain why I met him. And since I'm free, I'm so thankful and I want to help him out as well. And he asked me to do several conversations with the camera. So we shoot some videos and they will be posted every Friday as well. So starting from tonight, the Dutch viewers can see them. Maybe it's interesting for you, maybe not. You can check it out. I want to thank you again for those comments. Last week I was reading them again and it's amazing what some of you write. It's amazing because then I noticed that I'm doing things here in my studio in The Hague in Holland and I'm telling what's on my mind, and this is resonating somewhere at the other side of the world by people who exactly know what I'm talking about, and then they start writing long comments with really really interesting stuff. We should make a book from this if there is any time. Maybe you can, one of you can start to make a book. And if you haven't read these comments, I really can say that you should do this. Some of you write very, very interesting comments. So thank you for that. And well, enjoy your weekend and see you next week.